Alright guys, day 2 of the Hatfield McCoy Trail System series. Day 1, if you didn't click on it, please make sure to go back and click on that video. It was probably one of the best days of riding that we've had yet. We rode the Rock House Trail System on day 1, checked into Gilbert, West Virginia. So that was all pretty good video, so make sure to go back and check that out. Today's day 2, this would be St. Patty's Day, my birthday, and we chose to ride the Devil's Anse Trail System. So from Gilbert, we rode all the way the road to the Exxon gas station, which is right by the Devil's Anse Trail System entrance. And that's kind of where you'll see where we pick up, start riding the trails from there. This was my first time really taking a GoPro out on a riding trip, so I didn't really know what I needed to be prepared for. When you go out all day, it really eats up a lot of data. Like a 256 gigabyte memory card lasts about an hour and a half. One battery lasts 2 hours, if that, 2 hours of solid footage. So, and as far as clamps, I had like a Jaws clamp. I don't have it out here anyway. It was like a squeeze clamp, like you could put it anywhere. Well, each time you go over bumps, it kept falling like that, and I have to push it back up. So I didn't have a really good mounting system, so you'll only see some limited viewpoints in this video. Still really good footage. All the massive amount of footage that was in this came close to 2 hours, edited down. So there's definitely a lot of stuff to see. For the first half of it, the GoPro is mounted on the front, and then I mounted on my helmet inside the Maverick. For the second part of the video, it's mounted on Derek's helmet, which is on the 450, so you can hear the 450 rip and see some different viewpoints there. So without further ado, make sure to check this video out. Day 2, we ride almost 100 miles on the Devil's Anse Trail System, all kinds of different things to see. So we'll go ahead and hit that intro and make sure to check things out. Thanks. Alright guys, so thanks for clicking on this video here. Most of the first half of this video is going to be in-cab footage from the Can-Am Maverick Sport that me and my wife were driving. Unfortunately and fortunately, we listened to Morgan Wallen the entire time that we drove. I mean, the volume pegged just rocking out to Morgan Wallen country the whole time, which was all good, but for YouTube's purposes, you can't put popular music on here at all. So I'm going to be trying to jump in here, do some voiceovers on at least the footage that I have. You'll see later on in the video that we do switch the GoPro back to Derek's helmet on the 450. So you do get to hear some good ripping and some exhaust noises from there. But for all the in-cab footage, at least for mine through this video, it is going to be paired with some other music here. You won't be able to hear the exhaust noise on mine. But don't get me wrong, it is still seriously awesome ripping. This was probably one of the coolest days of footage that we got. We drove directly from Gilbert to that Exxon gas station you just seen a few moments ago, which is right at the entrance to Devil's Anse ATV Hatfield McCoy Trail System. So that's what we rode this entire trip here. So in about a minute here, we'll go ahead and get into the video where we get onto the trail. Make sure to watch the whole thing, fast forward, rewind, whatever you want to do, but it is worth it. It is awesome footage. So thanks again, and check it out. Okay, so like I said, we are entering the Devil's Anse trail system here. So we stayed in Gilbert, West Virginia, which is about a 10 mile, actually not about, exactly a 10-mile ride from the center of Gilbert on the road all the way to that Exxon gas station. So if you're thinking that you want to ride the Rock House Trail and the Devil's Anse Trail, obviously you could just ride the trails all the way there, but a little shortcut is you can just take the road straight to the Exxon gas station, gas up, get ice, food, water, whatever you want to do. And then, as you can see here, it's literally like 5 minutes to the Devil's Anse entrance. I just hit the entrance a little bit ago there, and then it's a little bit of road riding right to this point here, in which you turn right, and we're onto the trails. So enjoy some of that footage here, and I will be back to talk some more. right, so yeah, thanks for continuing to watch the video. As you can see, it was a pretty awesome time. Most of these trails that we hit in the beginning of Devil's Anse for at least this hour and probably the next hour were all freshly groomed. Like eventually you'll see the huge earth mover machine that we drive by. It's unbelievable what it can do to really drive through the mountains and carve these trails out. I mean, just endless amount of trails that you can just hammer down and just rip on and not have to worry about anything. I mean, you are driving on the side of a mountain, to where if you rolled over there, it would be a pretty rough death. But the trails are pretty impressive, especially the fact that they're that nice. A couple rocks here and there, a couple ruts here and there. But for the amount of machines that I bet move on these things on a daily basis, really impressive grooming to the trails. So I will say that. So today we are riding on St. Patty's Day, March 17th. Just happens to be my birthday weekend here. Part of the reasons why we came to ride, spring break, whatever you want to call it. It just turned out to be an awesome weekend. Except today was a little unique. It's funny watching back through these videos at home after we went there because all that most of us remember is the second half of this day, which it turned from this nice 55 degrees outside and no rain to maybe about 40 degrees and pouring down rain for the entire time that we drove back. So we went out about 45 miles and we came back 45 miles. And as soon as we got to the gas station at the end of this footage here, everything turned to shit. The weather turned terrible. It got really cold. You can even progressively see that it was sprinkling a little bit throughout these trails, and you can see them get wetter and wetter and wetter, especially when the GoPro goes on Derek's helmet, and you see him riding, and it just gets worse and worse. Because throughout the beginning of this day, well, stop here. We passed this group here about 3 times. A huge group of people. Whoever's in the green side by side there seemed to rip on the exhaust a little bit extra, in my opinion, when they went by. But anyway. So yeah, the day was awesome. Each time I can see like me and my wife laughing, saying how awesome these trails are. When Derek gets the GoPro, says how great these are, and then you can progressively see the day get shittier and shittier and shittier to where like Derek's completely covered in water, soaked. We all agreed that the end of the day back was like a physical, mental endurance test of life to be able to get back. It was rough. It was rough. Everybody was soaked down to the bone, just rain pouring inside. We weren't really prepared for the rain. I didn't have enough batteries for the GoPro. I didn't have enough clamps, so the whole deal was kind of a learning curve for footage, but it was definitely an experience that none of us will ever forget, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. It was awesome. So keep on watching. This was a pretty good spot coming up here. We don't realize it. We crest a little hill and really hit this puddle hard. Completely soaks us in through the windshield. It was pretty funny.
Oh!
God damn!
Fuck! Oh, that GoPro's probably I got soaked!
You did?
Yeah! Come over that last thing, I didn't know there was a fucking puddle!
Grandpa Wayne's going so slow with Paul behind him.
These are nice trails.
Yeah. Some of them jumps I launched.
Yeah, we did too. We were like, woo!
Alright, I'm ready for a snack.
Ready for something?
Yeah.
Ready for a little snack?
Puddle get you? It's getting harder.
Yeah! They get you? I come over and fucking, you get soaked? Oh man, I got...
No, I'm lucky, because I can see them where they hit the water.
Yeah, I couldn't see that.
Get our shit together.
Ripping.
right, so if you've watched all this video so far, thanks again for sticking around. As you can see, it was a pretty awesome time. Really love these trails at Hatfield McCoy. I mean, it's endless amount of trails. Like I said, we rode for 190 miles over the course of 2 days and barely even touched all of the trail systems and the trails there. We primarily stick to the green and blue trails, not really for fear of, climbing anything hard. I mean, there's plenty of ups and downs and mountains and difficulty on these green and blue trails, especially when you're ripping, close to 50 mile an hour on the trails. But most of the black trails, from what I found out here, are like rock climbs, washed out creek trails down the mountain. And all that's good, if you wanted to come and just ride, one or two trails for the whole day. But the likelihood of breaking axles and other things on your machine, the likelihood goes up a lot when you start rock crawling those trails like that. And I'd rather just go and enjoy the weekend and know that my machine's going to be good, after I'm done with this trail. I don't want to have to worry about busting an axle or, you know, ripping a tire on some rock. I mean, obviously anything can happen at any point in time, but you go on those kind of trails and do that kind of riding, which is great, to each their own, but it's just not my kind of thing. So make sure to watch some more here. We do cruise these trails quite a bit. Again, this is the Devil's Anse trail system. If you want to fast forward some and don't like the viewpoint from inside the Maverick here, at about an hour in, we do switch the GoPro over to Derek's helmet, and you can see the 450 rip pretty good behind us, and it's full volume with that, exhaust notes and everything. So thanks again, and keep watching. It's really neat to rewatch these videos, especially after being the driver, because you're focused so much on just ripping on the trail there that even if you drove slow, in my opinion, it's really hard to look around at the scenery here and really see everything. But watching through the videos, I mean, man, you can see the trails carved up through the mountains, the switchbacks easily through all the trees. So it's pretty cool to see. I mean, obviously, it'd be much prettier if it was green out and you had nice leaves to look at, but it is a very cool. Oh, there's the earth mover. Sorry to interrupt here, but yeah, so that's the machine that literally drives up through all these trails and carves all the trails. So from this point out, I don't think it's fresh trails anymore. You know, you should be able to visually see the difference on the ground, but that thing just grades the trails on these green and blue trails. They're always maintained. We've never had an issue, and I mean they're awesome trails every time. We've rode Bear Wallow, we've rode Rock House, we've rode Devil's Anse. I think those are the only three that we've all done together. Me and my dad, a couple years way back, have rode Pinnacle Creek. I think that's all the trails that I've personally done. My buddy that came with us on the YXZ, him and my dad have rode Buffalo Mountain before. We tried to get to that trail system during this ride, but to start from Gilbert and actually ride the trails all the way through, ride all of Devil's Hands, um, I think it was like 60 miles just to get to the town of Mattawan, which is at the beginning of Buffalo Mountain. So it was almost impossible for us to be able to ride Buffalo Mountain this day. But that was okay because the Devil's Anse trails, in my opinion, were pretty awesome. I would come back and rewrite all of it all over again. I would just rather be in a t-shirt rather than being cold and wet. So check it out some more. Okay, so we're getting close to the point that we end up switching the GoPro back over to the 450, and then we get to hear the exhaust and see a different viewpoint. So that's coming up here in a few minutes, so make sure to stay tuned, check that out. But again, trails here are super, super awesome. If anybody has never been here before, you need to come. In my opinion, it is the best ATV side by side dirt bike riding that you could ever go to, period. Um, you can literally ride your side by sides, ATVs, right down through the city, down on the streets, the highways. I mean, obviously, there's a couple roads that you're not allowed to go on, but pretty much a free for all. I've never been stopped really by a police officer or anything here as long as you're fairly respectful. It is just it's like ATV and side by side heaven, in my opinion. So make sure to come check out the Hatfield McCoy trails, no matter what trail system you go to. It's, in my opinion, like I said, as good as it gets. Yeah, so thanks again.
That was a good 45 minutes of riding.
Since the last stop?
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking solid ripping.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Found neutral back there.
Yeah?
There is an overlook up here somewhere.
That's okay. I'm ready to stop.
That's fine.
at this point in the ride, we are almost done with the footage that I have. The day progressively got worse and worse, wetter and wetter, as you can see on the trail and some of the footage on the screen there. But it just started to rain. It got cold, it got shitty, and it was a really rough time to get back to the cabin. Um, didn't have really good GoPro mount clamps for any of the side by side, so kind of the only place to put it was Derek's helmet. Um, so anyway, we're almost to the town of Mattawan, which crosses over into the state of Kentucky, which is where we got fuel. It was the first fuel station I think I might have ever seen in my entire life that didn't have a card and that you didn't have to prepay. You just literally walked up, got fuel, walked inside, paid, and left. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, here in a few moments, I am going to show some footage and some pictures from my birthday. It at least gives you an idea of what the Guyane Suites in Gilbert, West Virginia looks like. The garage underneath, pool tables, stuff like that. So anyway, stick around for the next few minutes. Thanks again for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe. There should be a day 3 video coming out here within the next week. So thanks again, guys.